And I want to welcome everyone to sitting at the same table. And it's really my pleasure to have all of you here. This has been a dream of ours for the longest time. And we'll be doing this together with several of you. Christopher, I'd like you to just say hello. My husband and business partner, Christopher Cook, is with us tonight.
Hello, everybody. It's great to have you all here.
And it's really great to have Darren Doherty and Edwin Sutcliffe with us. So what are we about tonight? Well, this is about starting a community and actually joining a community that already exists called Agrarians. And tonight it's kind of getting to know each other and starting to find out what we're interested in and what's there to talk about. And I hope you leave with a strong desire to become part of this community. And we're going to start with, well, why Agrarians Workplace? And you can see we've got a couple of breakout room discussions for you. We'll teach you a little bit about Agrarians Workplace, and you have some time for personal reflection as well. Now, Darren is a busy man, and I want to open up with Darren, and over to you, Darren.
Oh, good morning, and thanks for having me on. That's a bit intimidating to see my mush there on such a big screen. Sorry about that. Thank you so much to Sheila and Edmund and to Chris for putting forward the possibility that the 3LM community would come in and use the platform that we first developed in 2016, 2017. We developed it for the reason that we have been an international organisation for a long time, and managing an international audience is, well, it's been really down to products such as email, which was first developed in 1974, and shows it, and then also various.
Oh, darn. I muted everybody, but then I muted Darren.
That's okay. I'm
sorry.
I've just
Good.
Myself. Yeah, so email's been around for a long time, as we know. Forums have been around for a long time as well, and they are kind of clunky. They're sort of you put a question out there, then you get an answer, and they're categorized, and there's values to them, and so on. And then there was Facebook groups, which more recently came about, probably from the late noughties. And when we looked at all of those platforms and having used them all, they didn't really sync. And then when we started to do online education from about 2015, well, we started a bit earlier than that, doing webinars and whatnot, but using GoToMeeting and then Zoom. But when we started to do online training per se from about 2015, we actually started using a program called Slack, which some of you will be familiar with. And that platform, you could tag people and whatnot, but it was really clumsy and had a really clumsy interface. And then Facebook wrote to us as a business. They were releasing a new product called Workplace, and we looked at it straight away. And we were able to enroll as a non-profit. And they, from the outset, had a program called Workplace for Good, which allowed non-profits to have access to the workplace platform for free, with the not just a sort of a diluted offering, but a full offering of all of its service. So that was really great, and we took that up. And it was really interesting because we were halfway through a 10-week farm planning training. And, when you're in online trainings, as you would know, some of you have worked with Sheila and Edmund and others, you get familiarity. There's a community, there's a repartee that starts to develop. And I said to people, as an aside from, when we were designing a road or a dam or a fence, I said, hey, there's this new platform out there we're going to have a look at. Don't join it yet. We're going to look at joining it after we finish this particular program. And And it was one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen. We had, within 7 days, a complete migration of 120 people over to this new platform seamlessly. And I went, oh, that's phenomenal. And that was a real signal to us that, you know, that when people can see a platform that actually, and we hadn't developed it anywhere near how it's developed now. It was just a very raw space that we developed and that we, you know, opened, and off it went. And so we finished so sort of everyone was going, oh, what are we doing the talk that we had in Slack? What happened to Slack? All of the work that we're doing. So you can still go over there, but, you know, we've got a new room to go into. And it was kind of like that. And I use the analogy of our workplace as it now has become in the last 4 years as a big warehouse. And it's become a global warehouse now where we've got, I think, close to 60 countries and about 30 languages represented, which is amazing. And another virtue of this platform. People can speak. I mean, it's for any of us who've worked in international training, it's been one of the hardest things to continually be translated, you know, to speak 10 words and then wait for them to be translated, and speak 10 words and wait and going back the other way. So, and to have all of those barriers that when you go into another language, well, if you go to France or a French speaking country or a Spanish speaking country or wherever, and to find that there's this whole knowledge base that's being kept from you just simply because of a language barrier, and knowledge that truly enriches our ability to care for the earth and regenerate the earth is quite profound. And so to have a digital platform which overcomes that immediately by, you know, automatically translating a conversation is in multiple ways. So we can have someone who's from Somaliland speaking with someone in India, speaking with someone in Thailand, speaking with someone in the US, speaking with someone in Peru, all at once, all in their native tongue, and all automatically translated is a brilliant thing to have. So the platform itself, as I described, it's one where people have an automatic translator. I describe it as being something akin to a warehouse that when you walk into it, there's a forum that is going, well, there's a series of forums which are based on our own platform, which I know we're sort of, well, the 3LM people are sort of, how could you say? Offering
a little overwhelmed.
Well, offering gradually, which I think is quite reasonable.
Well,
and then we've got other rooms in the space which are secret rooms where secret discussions are going, and then we've got closed rooms where people are having, where you can look through the glass and watch the presentation and maybe hear it, but you can't enter the room unless you're invited. So we've developed quite a space. And that's the way I rationalize it in my own head.
It's an awesome space. And one of the people that has taken our training, when he heard we were moving to workplace, he said, oh, I've been in Agrarians for 2 years, and it's the best online regenerative agriculture platform out there. It's the best community to be part of. So he was really happy. And I think a lot of people in 3LM network don't know what Regenerations is. So could you just give us in a nutshell?
Yeah, sure.
What is Regenerations?
Well, Regenerations is a word that I came up with in 2012. It's a neologism, but it's a portmanteau of regenerative agrarian. So I came up with the brand Regen Ag in 2009, and I sort of passed that over to others that I was working with, and I needed to come up with another brand, and that was one that I came up with. Somewhat the Quivira Coalition, who I've worked with a lot in the US, in New Mexico, who are closely aligned with the holistic management movement down there. They had been doing regenerative agrarian trainings, and so I think I probably owe a little bit to them. But Yeah, so the basis of our non-profit is the Agrarians Limited non-profit is to use all of the tools that we have to regenerate the biosphere. So we don't just look at it as, you know, regenerating the landscape. It's also let's look at the oceans, let's look at the atmosphere, let's look at all of the spheres that we have: the lithosphere, the atmosphere, the pedosphere, the everysphere. And with that, we also developed a platform, and which had us, because I was employed by Mars Incorporated for a long time, the big candy company, and my title was as an integrated consultant, and which I thought was fairly appropriate because I'm a generalist. And so as a generalist, I pick and choose methodologies all of the time. And a lot of our work had been around gradually integrating a whole range of methodologies, holistic management included, with keyline design, which is an Australian farm planning system, with permaculture, which also was born out of Australia, with soil conservation work, with a whole range of other methodologies that different people, Elaine Ingham's work, and so on and so forth, all of which have value and give options to people who are looking to ultimately improve their landscapes and their lives. But we needed a platform to help with that, to organise that. I'm a fairly organised. Well, I have a feeling I need to be organised. So I needed to put myself to create for myself some sort of platform, and that's where the Agrarians platform, which really embeds all of these methodologies in together into some sort of dynamic whole, and gives people somewhat of an A to Z, which is what or an A to Z. Which is what I saw a lot of different methodologies didn't have, where you had a starting point and some feeling of an end point. I know there's never an end point, but some feeling that if you go through a process, you've got something out of it. You've actually got to a point where you go, okay, now I feel like I've achieved something and I'm ready for the next step.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us, and we're just delighted to be part of it. And like you, we've piloted 4 courses in it, and it's gone really well. It's way better awesome than what we were doing before. So
awesome.
We're really appreciative.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and I'm very grateful to Mr. Zuckerberg for allowing us to have the space, which is, in itself, it's so ironic because so many people, especially at the moment, you may well have heard the wars here between Facebook and Google and the Australian government. So I've been fairly quiet on that. I didn't want to offend anyone, but look, one of the reasons why I think the platform works really well, like the Workplace by Facebook platform works so well, is because, as I've said so many times, my 80-year-old auntie who has never used a computer before, when she was shown Facebook and given an iPad by her daughter, she was immediately able to use it because it is ultimately highly intuitive as an operating system, as a platform. And that's what we've tried to do our best by using a platform which is intuitive to use, to make it even more when it's quite complex. There's a lot of complexity to what we've developed. So it can be a bit overwhelming, but please give it time and just go slowly. And I think the way that Edmund and Sheila have worked in the background with myself and others to sort of drip feed the access, I think is a really good strategy. So I'm really pleased to have had that collaboration, and we're really looking forward to opening up to more opportunities. The 3LM collaboration is hopefully this the start of many that we will be able to host and host, but whilst not coming into their room. It's good. We believe very much in self-determination. So and people being independent and being able to operate their own thing. We just want to create the space, which we're really happy to have been able to. So thank you, and
thank you, Darren.
I'll go and get back to my bread. I'm baking bread.
I know
Yeah.
you've got a busy morning in Australia, so thank you so much for joining us this early Saturday morning.
No worries at all. All right. Thank you so much. All the
We'll
best.
See you later. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, Darren mentioned there several times our Edwin Sutcliffe, and I want to have Edmund speak with us a bit because it was actually Edmund's brainchild to do this, and I want Edmund to just explain in his own words what he was thinking.
Hi there, everyone. Yeah, so I'm an educator in holistic management with 3LM, and I'm also taking Darren's agrarians course. And so I was in there and I saw how good the platform was. And for me, the really important aspect of it was the level of support that not only the educators can give the students, but the students can give to each other. And and there are no educators and students, we're all just learning here, so that was the really key thing, is having a worldwide network of, people of different skill levels. They're all coming in at different levels, and just being able to really support that, nurture that, and allow people to grow in their own time. And, farming can be lonely sometimes, and it's just wonderful to, and especially when you're doing something which is not so, it's different. Regenerative agriculture, unfortunately, it's still, we're still very much at the beginning of its impact on society, I think. And so, you're already being different in a profession which is not like nested in a huge amount of, that's already quite niche. So just that, yeah, for me, that was the key thing. And the agrarians workplace itself has a very structured way of ordering that conversation and directing it on the aspects that you need help on. And so, yeah, we're really looking forward to learning with you, really.
Thank you so much, Edmund. And thank you for this wonderful idea that you had, because it suits exactly what we've always wanted to do at 3LM, which is to really build a community, a network of people who are learning together, just like what Edmund said. So let's start by learning a little bit about each other. If you open up the participant box on your Zoom control panel and you click on your name and then more and then rename, keep your name, don't lose your name, but you can type in where in the world are you, and you can tell us as much or as little as you like. But it sure would be nice to see, because we've got a large group of people, and I know there's represented from a lot of different places. So go ahead and tell us. I see Austria, Hungary, South Lakes, Ireland, Hertfordshire, Dorset, Canada, all over Spain. Thank you so much for that. All right. So where are you in your holistic management journey? Let's find out. And I give you a lot of options to fill out. And tick all that apply, please. Tell us, where are you? And I know some of you, you barely know what holistic management is. You've never taken a training. So you pick the beginning one. And a lot of you I know have completed all your training. So we've got a wide range here. I've got about half of you voting so far. I'm going to give you a little more time. Okay, it's pretty much stopped moving now, so I'm going to end the polling and share with you the results. So I guess the biggest majority of the people here have completed the fundamentals of holistic management. So That's wonderful. And we even have 5 accredited professionals with us. So I'm really glad to have that full range in the room. All right, so the statement of purpose of 3LM is Imagineering a regenerative layer. And it's taken Christopher and I some years to boil it down to that as the essence. And this statement of purpose needs a little bit of explanation. Each one of those words is very special. So, but the core word there is regenerative. And what Christopher and I realized, and we've known this since the beginning of our relationship, we met in 2011. Regenerative happens when we take responsibility for Earth's ecosystem. That's what it's about. We humans need to take responsibility for our Earth. Earth has been good to us. Now it's time for us to be good to our Earth. And for humans to do that really well requires some change. And we're really inspired by the work of Claire Graves, and he tells us humans must prepare for a momentous leap. It is not merely a transition to a new level of existence, but the start of a new movement in the symphony of human history. So we're right in this massive transition from this human equity to integrative flow, which really appreciates the magnificence of existence, and then into this holistic being. And it's this transition here, this really, really important transition going on right here, that's what gives humans the ability to have regenerative thinking and take action that's very positive for our planet. And it's that transition that brings you here today. That's what attracts you to this work, is you're undergoing that transition as we are. So that's the word regenerative, and that's what that word means to us. Now, imagining a regenerative layer, what are we talking about with layer? It's a funny word. This word layer comes from this book, Build Your Own Independent Nation, which Christopher and I read by Kyohei Sakaguchi, and it was like a #1 bestseller in Japan a few years back. And you can download this book for free, and we highly recommend it. But basically what Kyohei was a student of architecture, and he studied homeless people in Tokyo. Imagine being a student of architecture studying homeless homes. That's what he studied. And what he discovered was that homeless people they're not really bothered about it. That it's not a problem for them. They regard Tokyo as their home. And they regard Tokyo as a place of excess resources that they get access to. And they learn how to access these resources and make homes for themselves. And they make an economy. They make a society. They have a place that they fit in, and he calls it a layer. They make their own layer. And so as we are transitioning into a regenerative economy and society, we're the leaders. We're the first people to do this. And there isn't an economic layer. There isn't a societal layer of people. And in fact, as Edmund said, we're quite odd ducks, and we just don't quite fit in. And so what Christopher and I knew is we need to help people. We need to help people create an economic layer and a societal layer. We need to help people just to find friends that they can talk to, who understand what they're talking about, where they don't feel odd, but they feel accepted and understood. And for us, that's what Agrarians Workplace enables, because these people are not next door to each other. It's unlikely the farm next door is going to be interested in what you're doing. It's more likely the farm 100 kilometers away from you is interested in what you're doing. And that's hard to make a connection. So we need to make a connection out in the virtual world, and Agrarians Workplace helps us fulfill the layer part of Imagineering a regenerative layer. So what's the Imagineering? Well, anyone who's taken holistic management fundamentals knows what that is, because that's what a holistic context is. It's deeply, fully imagining what's the life that you want to create for yourself. And when we fully imagine it, that's when our mind sets about creating for it. The human mind can resolve problems by creating a strategy to a future memory or state. That's all a holistic context is. It's a future memory or a state. And once you want it so much that you'd be willing to die for it, as Alan Savory says, your mind sets about making it happen in this mysterious way that our universe works. So that's what the story behind Imagineering a regenerative layer. And it's this powerful story that's really why we're joining the Agrarians Workplace, is to help everyone imagine their own regenerative layer. And I want to see if Christopher has something you would like to add to this really important statement of purpose.
Well, I think the key is in the Imagineering, and what I'm wondering as Sheila describes what she's describing around the statement of purpose, I wonder what's starting to come up and bubble up in your imagery, and how you imagine this operating. The way I imagine this operating is it's a complete layer of new thinking that embraces the earth, and that requires new knowledge to be communicated, educated, but it allows everybody to plug and play into that new band of information, that new band of knowledge. Because at the end of the day, I'm really only interested in stuff that works. And a lot of what we're doing here is about stuff that works at a time when we as a civilization and we as a planet need stuff that works. So that invisible plasma, Sheila, is the way I imagine it around the planet. And we have to redefine everything we believe to be true to step into that space. And from my work, I know there's many people been learning to operate in that space, and certainly the agrarian workplace and the way I'm hearing it operate, it's almost as I'm like a little mouse in this warehouse scurrying around looking for the information, the food that I need to answer my questions, knowing that we're all together working around a common set of principles, and those principles today we might describe as regenerative principles. So that's what comes to mind as you ask me that question.
Thank you. All right, so Agrarians Workplace is the key to being able to Imagineer a regenerative layer. I'm going to turn it over to Christopher to kick off the opening breakout room introduction.
Well, there's not much introduction because I think the thinking is already in play. And Darren certainly opened the invitation to a new space. And Edmund started to talk about how the workplace was helping meet his needs, which means there are things that are important to Edmund. And the breakout room conversation is really a chance for you to bring out a conversation about what's important to you about being here. So I want you to be thinking about that. What's really important to you about being here this evening. And we're going to put you into breakout rooms. So we're going to take you into there for about 12 minutes. And you're going to find you there yourselves in a place with people you've probably never spoken to before. And you're not going to have a lot of time, but what we want you to do is brief introductions, who you are, where you're from, and that's about as long as it takes. And we want somebody to take responsibility for time, so you each get an equal chunk of the time. But we really want you to talk about what's important to you about being here. That's the key question. By speaking about it, everybody in that group will get to know who you are and what's important to you. Now, somebody take responsibility for keeping the time, somebody just keep notes and just enjoy this space. So Sheila, you want to take us into that breakout?
Yeah, and they're going to have 8 minutes with a 1 minute wind down. So
8 minutes, yeah,
they need to go quite quickly.
Okay, like popcorn.
Yeah, here we go. Have fun.
What's important?
And I hope that you enjoyed that. And you're going to, in a little bit, you'll go back to that same breakout with some other questions. But in the meantime, I just want to give you an introduction to workplace so you can start to understand what is it that we are talking about. So as Darren said, it's Workplace by Facebook, and it's not Facebook. That's the first thing to know. It's private, and it's private to Regrarians. So it's only the 2,000 people in Regrarians that are in here. You won't be able to use your regular Facebook login. You will have a login unique to this tool. I just want to give you a high level look first. There's an easy way to think about it is it's divided up into 3 main areas. So here's area 1, here's area 2, and then here's area 3 right here. And so as I change something here, as I select one of these buttons, then area 2 changes. And as I select something in area 2, then area 3 changes. So let me illustrate that for you. I'm going to clear all these drawings. And by the way, I've made a recording of all of this, and actually you see it right here. So when you join 3LM Network, you can watch this short video and get reminded of all of this. So you don't need to take notes or anything because you can get it all repeated. So let's look at the high level navigation. The circle W, that's our home. And if you click on that, that takes you home. The bell is where you're going to get notifications. And you can see I've got a notification that Louise commented on my photo. And you can tell I haven't read that yet because it's got that little mark there. And then the chat is where I can chat with anyone in here privately. Those chats won't go out to anybody. I'm going to click on home again, and I want to help you understand how this is organized. So the news feed is what we're looking at right now, and this is just a general news feed to help you know what's going on in the workplace. Knowledge library is an important one, especially if you're in training. And for those of you who've taken training before, when I get you in here, I will add you to the knowledge libraries for the courses that you have already taken, which is a nice little benefit because you'll be able to go back and get the current manual, the current workbook, the Savory Institute ebooks on those topics. The related forms, like you could download a grazing form, for example, and you can download home play and recordings. And I've started putting our recordings out on YouTube. So like if you wanted a refresher on the 4 key insights, well, you could come out here and do that. So we've got one knowledge library for every topic. HMF is the fundamentals. HFP is financial planning. HPG is planned grazing. HEM is ecological monitoring and land planning. Now let's go back to Circle W. And now I want to show you the groups. The big things are structured as groups. And I need to click on See More and then Groups to see all the groups that I have been invited to. So a lot of these are Regrarians groups, and if I just hover on them, I can get a little description and it tells me, this is the home page for Regrarians. Okay, got it. Events, okay, that's an important one. All events that are going on are there, and you can even publish your own events if you have events going on. Then here's the Regrarians Handbook, a space for discussion on the content of the Regrarians Handbook. And I'm going to jump down to this one, Regrarians Workplace. This one is where you can introduce yourself to the large community of people that are in here. And another thing that you can do is click on View More Groups. There are often more groups. And this one in particular, I want to highlight, and I'll come back here. So, but let's go to this opportunities. And I was so excited because I have wanted to do this for a long time and I just haven't known how. I get so often requests, especially from young people. I would like to work on a holistically managed farm in Ireland or in the UK or in Europe, and I don't know how to connect people. This is how we do that. So anyone, you can post out here either that you're looking for an opportunity or that you have an opportunity. And I just want to illustrate how easy it is to use the search. Within a group, you can search right here. I'm just going to put in UK and see, well, what opportunities are out there already? Well, our Joel Rodker, he's put something out there. He's over in Norwich. And then David Mumford, he's over in the Scilly Isles, and he's already put something out there. So it's working. I am so happy about that. People are using it. Now I want to go back to groups and I want to show you a couple other things. So those are the Regrarians groups, and I think some of them are pretty interesting. Then I want to show you what are the 3LM groups that we have so far. Basically, if you're in a course right now, you will be invited to a group for your course. And then, but the key one for most of us is the 3LM network. And notice how I've got it, all these starred. And when you just click on this button here and it gives you your follow options. If you click prioritize, it's gonna put it in your prioritized groups. And I recommend doing that so they pop right there and it's really easy to navigate to them. I would put your favorite groups there. All right, so I'm gonna go to 3LM Network and give you a little quick tour of that. So I've got right at the top a little video, so you can watch later the video again, the orientation, how to use everything. If you want to write a post, you just write a post right here, and let's just give that a go. It's just like on Facebook, and you can add photos and you can add videos and all that good stuff. All right, what else? If you want to reply, you can like it and you can comment on a post. It's just like Facebook. All right, the other thing I want to show you is how to use chat. This is a really fun feature. And again, there's a little search up here, and I'm just going to demonstrate. I'm going to do a little chat with Christopher. And notice how when I selected his name, that my header changed over here. So it's assuring me, yes, I am talking with Christopher. And I'm just typing in hello. And you can also send things to each other. Just click on this plus, and there's all sorts. You can send photos, a voice clip, photograph, stickers, and even you can attach files, you know, like a Word document or something. And then you can find out about the person. You can get their phone number, their email address if they've put that out there. And then what's really cool is you can voice call them over the internet, and you can video call them all for free over the internet. So once you find someone you want to talk to out here in this place, it's super easy to be able to talk with them and actually do the important work that we're all trying to do to regenerate our planet. Now, the last thing that I want to show you in the tool, and I think this is an important feature for those of you who are overwhelmed by email like me, you can turn off the email from this, which is I have done for myself. So I'm in a group, and under the header of a group, you'll always find these 3 dots for more options. Click on the 3 dots, click on notifications, and I turn on my notifications, and I turn it on so I get all posts. And what that's going to do for me is when someone posts something here, I'll get a dot on the bell or on the chat, and I'm even going to see it. This works best with Chrome, by the way. And in the Chrome tab, I'll get a red dot. And that's how I can know, oh, something new has come in, and I can go have a look straight away at it. Now, to turn off the email, then I click on notifications. Oh, let's see. I guess I can't do it on this one. Let me go to a different one. Notification. Here's the email. And I can turn that email off. So I'm not going to get email, and I'm just going to be navigating basically by red dots. And then you might wonder, well, can I get this on my phone? Because most people, we work by our phone, and yes, you can. And I'll illustrate that here. So it's available both for Android and for iPhone. If you go into Google Play, the thing I want you to notice, don't put in just Workplace, put in Workplace by Facebook, and it will take you right to it. If you put in Workplace, you get all kinds of stuff that isn't relevant. And you'll notice there are 2 apps. This one is for everything. It gives you all the features, including the knowledge library, everything. And this one, if you just want the chat, then this is a great one. And it's only the chat. And I'll show you the iPhone one as well. They do the same thing, Google Workplace by Facebook. And then this is the one for the whole functionality. And this one is just for the chat. All right, so that's enough of the tour. I'm going to turn it back over to Christopher now. And, oh no, I know. Before we turn it back over to Christopher, I have a few other things to tell you. Sorry about that. How do you join? Okay, so the thing is, to join this, we really want to set the bar for people that know holistic management to be in here. If people don't know holistic management, that's what the public Facebook is. There are lots of great groups out in the public Facebook, but this is a private space for people who really know holistic management. So when you take your first 3LM class, you automatically become a member here. And we are members for life. As long as Agrarians is running this workplace, we will all get to be members. You will never get kicked out. You'll be part of it. And so if you have already taken a 3LM class, anyone, I will know that. I've got those records, and I know you came on this webinar. I will send you an invitation that I don't know if I'll get to it tomorrow because I have to do it all by hand. I can't do it automated. It might take me a couple days to get to all of you. But what I want you to do is watch for an email invitation. It's not coming from 3LM. That's the important thing. It's coming from Agrarians. So be sure to look for an invitation from Agrarians. Click the button. And I have to say, it's a little confusing. It looks like it's populating a password for you, but you can put in your own password. And then I want you to bookmark the site, and that's how you'll be able to use it so easily, just like I bookmarked it in Chrome. If you'll have some notifications on your bell, click on those notifications, and those will add the knowledge libraries to your workplace. You know, and if you have any questions, all you have to do is private chat me in the Agrarians workplace, and we'll get you sorted. Or send me an email at info@3lm.network, and we'll get you sorted. Okay, so that's how you join. If you've never taken 3LM training before, we've got another course starting next Friday. So I would encourage you to become part of that. Okay, we said there was going to be a time for personal reflection, And we're at that time. I want us all to take some time, take out a sheet of paper, any sheet of paper will do, and fold it into four. Fold it into four. And I want you to ask yourself these four questions. You can draw a picture, you don't have to write words. In fact, pictures are really good. But in one of the boxes, where are you now in your journey of managing holistically? In another box, what's working really well for you? In another box, what do you need some more of to help you? What would really help? And the fourth one is, what question, when answered, will help you move forward in your holistic management practice? Okay? So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to do this. And if you have a question, you raise your hand or just open your microphone and we'll answer your question. But otherwise, I'll be quiet and let everybody think. And the key is to get to that question number 4, because we're going to use that in the next bit. Okay, I hope that's been enough time for you to come up with a juicy question. Christopher, you can go ahead and send the group to breakouts now.
Well, you always ask me to do with the juicy questions, so I just want to give them a bit of a preamble. So you've got your juicy questions, and when Sheila speaks about that worldview transition, this regenerative layer transition into a more holistic awareness, what we know is one of the characteristics is the individual comes up with questions that he or she alone cannot answer. And this is what we want you to do with your question, is take that question into a brief conversation in the breakout rooms with a collective of 3 other individuals. You'll be in the breakout rooms with the same people you spoke to a few moments ago. And we want you to briefly introduce your question, the question that you're holding at the moment, based on the conversation you've just had with yourself. And then we want you to work together to offer, as best you can, ideas, thoughts, and perhaps even more questions that support each individual in the group. And it'll be fast and furious. And how much time are you giving us this time, Sheila? Because you're in charge of the clock.
Well, should we give him 20 minutes? I think
20 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to give him 20 minutes because this is kind of the heart and soul of this whole session, is really getting to create community and supporting each other in doing that.
So just keep an eye on time. And so basically you've got about 4 minutes to work on each individual's question. And let's find out how far we go in working with the collective mind, the brain syndicate that you have in your breakout rooms. So enjoy. And Sheila's going to launch you there. She's going to shovel you into the breakouts.
Okay, it looks like we've got some people that are not in breakout rooms.
I'm here to make a number. It's a good job.
And